All right, hello everyone, it's silverkyle, and today we're going to be going over the PlayStation Showcase that just finished up here May 24th, 2023, because to me this really felt like the biggest event that we're going to get from Sony in terms of what's coming up in the next little while for this year. And it felt like a big event, but it was nothing like what we used to get at E3 years ago, and nor really should it be that anymore. Nintendo, Microsoft, nobody is really pulling out these kinds of events. The only company that kind of has that same presence that they used to when E3 was around is Square. Normally, when Square does an event, it can be fairly big for the size of the company that they are. So yeah, anyway, let's go over this. I'm really only going to focus on the games that I'm looking forward to, or the announcements that they had that were really exciting to me. I'm not going to talk about everything because I counted about 35, give or take, announcements that the majority of I wasn't interested in. They weren't my cup of tea. And with an event like this, I do feel an hour and 10 minutes is way too long, but this is really, for some of these games, their only chance to really be seen by a bigger audience because they're going to be mixed in with everybody else that are the big announcements. And I don't think we really got any massive announcement here, but there was still a lot in here that I was surprised with and really looking forward to. So we're going to go over the things I was most excited about and slowly dwindle down into the things that I'm still interested in. And the stuff that I wasn't interested in, I might talk about a few of them here because I'm like, what is that kind of thing? But I'm going to try to keep this more positive because you can't expect, an event to have everything blow you away. I mean, we have had some of those before that were just incredible, but I just want to focus on the positive here. And there was quite a few things that I'm still very much excited for here that I did not expect either. So we're going to start with that. So the games that I'm just ecstatic about. Okay, I got to get the name right because the first one I really want to talk about, and I have to, because there was a few tower games here. One of them is Towers of Axaba. Something. I don't know what that is, but that's coming out in 2024, and this looks like kind of like an indie Zelda Breath of the Wild Tears of the Kingdom game. And I'm all for it. It looks a little bit janky. It doesn't look like it's going to run nearly as smooth as the Zelda games. One of the things that we need to really accommodate, appreciate what Nintendo did with the latest Zelda games is the physics running so smoothly in those games is baffling. It's incredible what they were able to do with those games. But this game looks like a Zelda clone in a good way. It still looks like it has its own identity. It looks like it might have a stronger story side to it, potentially, than the Zelda games do, because Zelda is more focused on the gameplay, whereas this might have a little bit more of, it felt like there's something about some indie games where they really create a nice atmosphere. And it's hard to describe other than it's an atmosphere. It's a feeling that you get when you're listening to the music, when you're looking at the artwork and the game, like the art style of the game, that it calms me, it soothes me. I got that feeling with this. They had a turtle at one point, like a gigantic snapping turtle, and I was like, that makes me happy. Strange that a massive giant snapping turtle calms me, soothes me. But that's definitely the kind of feel that I got, and I'm really looking forward to that game. Another one that they showed that I had no idea was coming out was Tower of Fantasy. That I thought it was going to be like a Tales game because it looked like it might be that. I still don't even really know what it is. I don't know if it's like a multiplayer game because it looked like it could have been that, or it might just be a game where you control a bunch of different characters. It really felt like it might have been a multiplayer game. I don't know, and I don't know, is that like a few player co-op or was that an MMO? If it's an MMO, I'm not nearly as excited because as much as I do love MMOs, I just don't have the time to dedicate that many hours anymore to those games. I play Apex all the time, so I can only have one game that I'm devoting a few hours or quite a few hours every week to without touching my single player game. So that's my dedicated game, so I can't do that. So if it's an MMO, I probably won't get it. But if it's anything other than that, multiplayer game, single player game, I hope it's a single player game and I don't really have to go the multiplayer co-op route. If I do, I'll still pick it up because I really like that. Some kind of JRPG, a third person action RPG. I'm down for it. I was very, very much excited for that. Another one that we've heard of before was we've heard about it quite a few times now for many years, is Grand Blue Fantasy Relink. Essentially the same thing, but it's a single player game, and that we don't have an official date, but we have a release window, which is winter 2023. So that could be November, December, the near end of the year. I could see this getting pushed back a little bit into 2024 in the first few months, first quarter. I could see that happening. I'd be fine with that. I've got tons of games to play anyway for the next little while, but I would be very happy if this does come out at the end of the year, because it's something that I've been seeing over the last little while that has me really excited about. Next up, that I didn't see at all coming, was Dragon's Dogma 2. I need to play the first one now, but I really liked what they were showing with this. This really captivated me and made me want to say, okay, enough time has passed. I need to go play Dragon's Dogma 1 to play this. But I don't think for Dragon's Dogma 2, I think it's just coming to PlayStation 5. They didn't even say 2024, so that could be a while before we even get it. It might be 2025. I don't know. I do not see that coming out this year, because a lot of times they would say 2023, 2024, or coming to PlayStation. So I feel like coming to PlayStation is late 2024, if not 2025. But either way, that looks awesome, and I'm fine with it coming later because I got to play the first one. And then they also had Project Q, which was it's the closest we're going to get to Vita 2.0. It's not an actual handheld console. It's not that, but it's the closest that we're going to get. It is a handheld screen for the PlayStation that looks extremely comfortable. Those the grips there looked that looks to me like it'll be the most comfortable handheld in existence. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. But basically it's remote play, so you're going to be able to play it. It's not an actual, you can't just take it anywhere you want. It's not running like that. It's remote play. But I'm still very happy with this, and it looks very fun. Like, we can already do that with other systems already. You can do remote play on a bunch, like your phone, Steam Deck. Steam Deck, as much as I like the idea, and I have it, it's not the most comfortable thing, and you can't switch things out. So it's not like the Switch where, the Joy-Cons aren't the most comfortable. You can switch them out. I have two different kinds of Joy-Cons specifically for when I'm playing it in handheld. But either way, very happy that we have a handheld version of the PlayStation, first party anyway. So excited for that. And I think that's coming out by the end of the year by the looks of it. I think that's potentially what they were saying. So most likely everything that I named here is day one, no matter what. I can, other than the Tower of whatever it was, that one I might wait a little bit because I want to see if it's an MMO. If it's an MMO, I won't get it. The other ones that I'm very excited about, but I already kind of knew about all of this. I knew about Grand Blue Fantasy Relink as well, but I'm just very excited for that game, so I put it in there. But other games that I'm still really excited for, Spider-Man 2 and Final Fantasy 16. Like, yes, those are day one buys no matter what as well. That's guaranteed going to happen. Final Fantasy 16, I'm very excited for. Also a little bit scared of, because I don't know. I sometimes get intimidated by how big games can be, which is odd because whenever they make an Elder Scrolls or a GTA, I'm like, yes, I don't care how big it is. Make it as big as you want. I'm fine with that. There's certain games that I don't mind being that big. Even Tears of the Kingdom, I was a little bit nervous, and I still am. I'm quite a few hours into the game. Very much enjoying it. I'm going to talk about that in the next little while too. But there's some aspects that I'm not the hottest about, but it's an incredible game. It really is an incredible game. But still apprehensive because of how big it is, although now I've got the sense of how big the game is, so I'm much more comfortable. But yeah, Final Fantasy 16 just feels like it's going to be so much bigger than any Final Fantasy we've ever played. I could be wrong about that entirely, but it just feels that way. Spider-Man 2, I'm very excited for. And when they first started showing the trailer, I was like, okay, the thing that is least attractive for me in the Spider-Man games is when you're just battling henchmen. And I know that you have all these abilities, and I don't really care about those abilities. What I want to do in Spider-Man is the chasing scenes. Now, yes, it's very streamlined when you're running after somebody, but that's what we got, and I was very happy with that. When you're running after the lizard, down for that. And now there's your Venom as well. Like, it's the storyline going around and web slinging and chasing people. With that's all I care about, and we're getting all of that here. Having said all that, this looked like a PlayStation 4 game. Now, it could just be because that's what they're showing, and I'm not watching this on my TV. That's entirely possible. But it's a lot of times when you look at other games and you're like, that looks amazing. That looks like a PlayStation 5 game. This one didn't. I'm going to have to play it and then I'll be able to judge myself, but that's just something that I noticed when I was looking at it. Other games that I'm very excited for. Sword of the Sea. I'm not a big fan of indie games most of the time. Same thing for the Tower of whatever it was. But Sword of the Sea is from the same developers of Journey, and I absolutely loved that game. I think there was another game. There was like 3 games that they mentioned here. Abzu or something like that. I can't remember. It's something. It's some. I think that's some kind of sea game that I really do want to check out too, but I haven't had the chance yet. But Journey, I absolutely loved. And when I first saw this, I was like, that's guaranteed the people that worked on Journey. Has to be. And then they named it. And I was like, yep, I'm getting that vibe completely. And I absolutely love that game. Now, if this is a short game like that, I'm perfectly fine with that. Just as long as it's some kind of experience that Journey offered me, that Flower offered me. Incredible games incredible experiences that I will never forget. So I'm hoping that we get that with this, and I'm putting it on such a high pedestal, but I'm so excited for that. Didn't see that coming at all. Alan Wake 2 is another game that is coming out. I need to play the first one, but I very much enjoyed what I was seeing from here. And that's kind of what all I'm really excited for that I think will all be day one games. Then we have another few that I'm kind of interested in. Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater, getting a remaster, remake, whatever it is, officially. That's awesome. Also, they are putting out the original trilogy 1, 2, and 3 out on, I think this summer it's coming out. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, I played a little bit of Metal Gear 1 and 2. That's it. I haven't dived really into that series, and I really think I should, because I think that 4 and 5 did get good reviews, so I should dive, and I think the first one did as well, and Snake Eater. So I should try these out, and I might do that because Snake Eater is technically a prequel. Let me know in the comments below if I can just jump into Snake Eater as my first Metal Gear game, or should I really go back and play 1 and 2 and beat those first. Anyway, then Helldivers 2, that looks fun. I really do want to play the first Helldivers, although this is like a third-person shooter, so it's completely different by the looks of it, because I think the first one was like a top-down view, was it not? And then you controlled a bunch of units. I could be wrong. I think that's what it was. Either way, that looks fun. Resident Evil 4 VR. That looks like it could be fun for a VR game. That seems like what we should be doing, really, with VR games. They showed another few VR games, too, that were like first-person shooters. And, that looked Synapse, something like that. That looked kind of fun. It was all right. And Assassin's Creed, Mirage, was it? Mirage? Coming out on October 12th. That looks fun. I'm just 10,000 years behind in Assassin's Creed games because I beat the first one and that's it. How many are they at now? 23? I don't know. It's like 12, or I don't know what the number is. I feel like there's 10. There's got to be at least 10. Because like Assassin's Creed 2 had 3 different games in it. So that's 4. Then you're at Assassin's Creed 3, then 6. Unity, Rogue. Yeah, we've got to be over 10 now. So I'm so behind. I won't be playing this until years down the road, if ever. But it looked fun. It looked all right. It actually, in terms of the last few Assassin's Creed games, like Origins to me looked really fun. The other one that had Atlantis looked really fun. I can't remember what it was called. Valhalla looked okay, not as good as the previous 2. But either way, that was it. And that's pretty much it. Nothing else really caught my eye. But I do want to talk about Foam Stars, which is like a Splatoon knockoff. It's going to be playing on PlayStation, so it should look good, and it looked blurry. It looked so incredibly blurry that Splatoon 1 on the Wii U 10 years ago looked clearer than this game on PlayStation 5. How? Like the gameplay, the cutscenes, which were nothing to write home about, they looked clear. The moment you were playing the game, it was like I play with my video games with glasses, and it looked like I took them off and my eyesight got worse. Did anybody else see that? Granted, I'm not watching this on the TV. I'm not playing it, and it looked kind of fun. Not something I'm going to get, especially if it's going to look that blurry, but just unexpected. There was one other game too. There was another few games at the very beginning. Immortals of Avium or something like that. It looked like a first-person fantasy game, and I thought it was going to be a VR game, but it didn't have the PlayStation VR logo anywhere. So I was confused with that because it seemed like that could have been a PlayStation VR game because it didn't look like amazing graphics. It didn't look like anything like that. It just looked like some kind of fantasy game where it's first person, you're throwing your spells out. And I was like, that could be fun as a VR game, but they didn't show that as a VR game. And same thing, Ghost Runner 2 looked like it could have been a fun VR game, but I don't think it is. I think it's just a first person game. So anyway, that's pretty much it. That is my kind of review of this event. I still feel like there was a lot of things that were geared towards me. Nothing that was like blew me out of the water. Sword of Sea was pretty high up there though, and the Tower of Axaba also freaking up there. Dragon's Dogma, didn't expect that, and Project Q, didn't see that coming. Even though it's remote play, I get it, but that's still, when I play video games, I'm usually in my room or in the living room. Like, I'm very close to, I don't need to go out there and bring it and go outside. I don't do that. I've never been that kind of gamer. Very rarely have I ever brought a handheld and like so far away from the actual console itself. So I'm very excited for that. Really happy the Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, it looks like it's going to be coming out soon. Final Fantasy 16, Spider-Man 2, very excited for those ones too. So to me, this was still a pretty good showing. We didn't get like Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. I would have liked to see that. I would have loved, because I keep hearing rumors about it, that Final Fantasy 9 is getting a remake. Like, I mean, that when that happens, no matter what the event is, that's going to be the best event ever. Like, nothing's going to beat that, even if everything else is just like, the Foam Stars and, Cat Quest. I'm down for it. There was the Plucky Squire, which looks like it could be fun. Maybe. But the rest, for the most part, I'm just kind of like, or it's either meh or just, that really doesn't look like a lot of fun at all. Like, they had some Destiny 2 stuff. They had Marathon by Bungie. Remember when Bungie used to make Halo games and it was exciting? Now they just do Destiny and something called Marathon, and it doesn't look fun to me. I know that there's obviously a lot of people playing Destiny that really like that, but it's just not for me. So anyway, that's it. I still feel like this was pretty good. Would have loved it if they had a Final Fantasy 9 remake or Legend of Dragoon. At this point in time, I would prefer a Final. What needs a remake more? Probably Legend of Dragoon. Because Final Fantasy 9 is still really good, and they did like the HD versions of them, where it still looks like the old game on PlayStation, but it's just in HD. So we already kind of got something nice out of that, whereas the Legend of Dragoon definitely needs at least a cleanup like that, or an actual overall remake, because the story of Legend of Dragoon is absolutely incredible, and I really feel like you could have an entire series based off of that lore. I've talked about this for quite a while. I've talked about this as long as this event was, and it was a bit too long. I'm kind of doing it the same thing in my review. So we're going to end it here. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about this event. I was pretty happy with it because my expectations weren't crazy high, other than wanting Final Fantasy 9. But overall, I came out happy with a few of the games that I did see. So thank you all for watching. You have been bearded in. Beardage!